Unified team collaboration, security, simplified workflows, centralized data. To some, this may sound like a list of random phrases. To BIM 360 design users, they are already experiencing the power of these promises come to life. Welcome to Bridging the Gap with Applied Software. I'm your host, Todd Wyant. This is the show where we empower you to transform industries by championing innovation. Please feel free to interact with us by liking or commenting on this video. We would love to hear from you. Today, we are welcoming back one of Applied Software's senior solution specialists on our architect and engineering services team, Rick Kremer. Rick, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Can you start by giving us a high-level overview on your background?
Absolutely. Thank you. Basically, I come from the architectural background. For those of you who don't know me, I have 22 years extensive history working on commercial projects, anywhere from federal to institutional, and actually even a Mercedes dealership for A-Rod. I've also worked on a variety of different projects, even from a high level. It was interesting, a tank repair place in a secret location in North Carolina.
Rick, I know you are passionate about BIM 360 design. What are some of the features of the platform that you find most exciting?
Well, really, quite frankly, what it boils down to in BIM 360 design, and you can see I'm really excited about it, is the fact that BIM 360 design enables myself as an architect to work collaboratively with other engineers and architects and designers across the globe, and not only next to me, but work effortlessly on working on a collaborated project, which ultimately saves me time and makes more money for the company I'm working for.
What makes BIM 360 design different from using other collaboration tools like Onedrive or Dropbox?
That's a great question. And a lot of architects back in the day, not even that long ago, to share files would email them. And even before then, I'm going to go back to my very first job as an intern out of high school. My responsibility was to collect all the drawings off of the printer and then go to the blueprint machine, run blueprints, and physically take these drawings from office to office to office. Wow. And fast forward 10 years from then, people were emailing drawings or putting them on FTP or WeTransfer or Dropbox. But then there was always the issue whether or not myself as a designer or the architect or a project lead was working on the exact latest, greatest file from my engineers. And it was always a question of whether or not I was working on the same version that they were working on. And there was always a lot of rework. There was a lot of time wasted in the architectural profession. And I could imagine that was always duplicated or triplicated with Revit with the MEP folks and structure, all doing the exact same thing. And BIM 360 design eliminates that need to email something and have it possibly bounce back or put it on an FTP site. It's really a way of revolutionizing how architecture is completed in the 21st century.
What improvements does BIM 360 design have from its earlier version, BIM 360 Team?
In the previous version, it was BIM 360 Team. In BIM 360 Design, they took the suggestions from architects and engineers, everyone from the design community, and said, what would you like to see improved on BIM 360 Design? And the number one thing was control, file permission control, and also the ability to know when you have the latest, what's called a package that as an architect I would submit to my engineers. BIM 360 Design is a huge leap from BIM 360 Team, where you have the ability to create different versions that you can share and permission levels, primarily permission levels that allow some people to see everything and some people just to be read-only. And BIM 360 Team was synonymous with a high trust environment where, let's say you and I were working together on a project and you brought someone into the project who was an intern and let's say deleted a file. If you're working in Dropbox, if someone on your end deletes that file, well, what happens on my end? It gets deleted. It gets deleted on both of our ends. And that was a problem. That's never good. That's never a good thing. And so BIM 360 Design solves that issue with permission control, among many other things, but primarily that's one of the main differences.
Rick, as you're going around and you're talking with clients, how do you feel the adoption level is at firms? And how many people are really using BIM 360 Design currently?
I would say as a architect and project manager and working with teams anywhere from Florida to Denver all the way up to New York, architects are adopting BIM 360 Design at a startlingly quick rate. And the reason being is it makes sense. It's easy to implement and it's scalable from 1 to 100 or 1,000 people, and you can scale back and forth. A lot of customers either know about it and they want to get on board, or they're currently already using it and they just want to expand their knowledge and use the other resources that come with BIM 360. So it's a huge adoption. It's I think one of the biggest things since sliced bread.
Is there any file size limitation in using BIM 360 Design?
It's funny you mentioned that. There's no file limitation. So what's really great about this is all the engineers and architects, when we're working on a drawing, it's usually normal to have a file that's 200, 300 megs. Sure. And that file, if you were to email it, it would get bounced back in a regular email. And on BIM 360 Design, you can take those and put them up on the cloud, and there's no file limitation. So right now, it's in the best interest for anyone listening to basically put as much as you can up on the cloud, because there is no file limitation.
Being able to access things easier is the name of the game. Can you access BIM 360 Design even from a cell phone? And what does that mean to an architect on a practical level?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Yes, like over here with my little smartphone, if you have a smartphone, if you have a flip phone, sorry, you're out of luck. But if you have a smartphone, a iPhone or Android device, you're in luck, because with today's connectivity, everyone has a smartphone, and the ability to get information in a moment is possible using a iPhone or Android device or your iPad. And what's nice about that is I don't have to carry this huge laptop that's sitting in front of me that weighs 15 pounds and 5 pounds for this AC adapter. Everything that I need as a project architect, and I can access through the web interface using BIM 360 app on my phone or on my tablet. Now, don't get me wrong, you still can't do production. Revit, you still need a production computer, laptop or PC, to run Revit. But if I want to review and look at drawings on the road or on the go or at a job site, I can pull up those drawings on a mobile device. And I got to tell you, with these Chromebooks, for example, that are relatively inexpensive for $200-300, and with 10+ hour battery life, it makes it really wonderful to be able to access this information from anywhere. And they're super thin, so it's access anywhere. And the other thing, Todd, I talked briefly about this 300 meg file from the architect. Well, the technology behind BIM 360 Design, it takes that large file and compresses it so it can be inside my phone, and I can manage my drawings. I can look at them, I can mark them up, review them, and it's only a couple kilobytes that are showed up on the iPhone. So whatever magic that they're doing in compressing the files is absolutely amazing. It's like 1,000 to 1 compression on the files that are now back on your device. So it really makes it manageable.
So Rick, would you need to configure a special server to use this at all?
No, and that's the beauty of BIM 360 Design. All you need is an internet connection. Matter of fact, I was meeting with some architects not too long ago. They're a startup company, 5 guys, and they started a firm, and they have laptops. They don't even have a server. They just have a modem. They have an internet connection, and they're completely Wi-Fi. They access all their projects via BIM 360, and there's zero setup, zero fee on a server. So there is no server requirement. All you need is an internet connection, and to be an administrator to basically toggle things on and off, which saves so much money and so much time, and also means that there's more budget for design versus more budget towards IT.
I've heard that BIM 360 Design allows users to visualize changes in the model. How does this work?
So Typically, I'm going to go back to when I was first interning. We would take a set of drawings and we would take a look at those drawings to see and compare. Let's say, as an architect, I wanted to compare my structural background. Well, I would take the drawing A and B and lay them on top of each other to visually see what's the difference between the two. Then, in the modern day of, let's say, AutoCAD, I would take those layers and put them on top of each other. Well, now in Revit, I have the ability through the web interface, through the phone or through Chrome, I can automatically select one of the drawing packages or backgrounds from my engineer and say, compare this one to this one. And it'll identify anything that is different. Not only if the structure changes, let's say an inch or a quarter of an inch or 5 inches, even if there's a text change. So if someone, let's say if you're the structural engineer and you made a note change in one of your title blocks or in your drawing sheet, I could easily identify it. I don't have to look for it. Not too long ago, if you were the engineer and you were sending me a set of drawings, you would highlight on your drawings the things that had been changed and give a grocery list of all those items and hope that you caught everything. Now it's simple. All I have to do is click a button and say compare. And BIM 360 Online looks at both the documents and highlights the differences. And within 3 different filters, I can select what's been added, what's been deleted, or what's been modified. And it makes it really user-friendly, just very, very easy and intuitive to use. Because you could imagine if a structural engineer is changing something like the ceiling height, it could directly affect MEP, it could affect ceiling, it could affect my space that I've designed. And if I'm not looking out for it, and let's say it goes to construction, then we're dealing with a problem in the field that could have been solved earlier on, and that can cost someone thousands and thousands of dollars. And I guarantee you it's never the owner. The owner is always going to make sure that someone's paying for it, and a general contractor is going to be quick to push it to the architect. And it's just a great way to save money and be coordinated early on.
Can you look into your crystal ball and see what does collaboration in the AEC industry look like in 3 to 5 years?
Well, you know, I really think in 3 to 5 years, we're going to be looking at some incredible changes where we're going to be working together on a seamless platform. And it's not going to be called Revit, it's going to be called something. And it doesn't matter what application you're using, everyone works on the same drawing in the same time, in real time. And if you were an engineer, you pick your engineer tools and I pick my architect tools, and we work together, almost kind of like a universal language. If I had a crystal ball, that's what I think would happen.
Rick, as always, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I really appreciate your insights into BIM 360 design. And thank you to all those watching. If you are interested in learning any more about our products or services, you can visit ASTI.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Todd Wyant, thanking you for joining us on Bridging the Gap with Applied Software. Keep innovating.